Okay, welcome to Rock Hill. We're glad to have everybody show up today. It's a wonderful day. It's a beautiful day. But every day when the governor comes to visit us in Rock Hill, it's because of big things. You know, just a year and a half ago, we stood on the other end of Main Street and we celebrated the Carolina Panthers coming to Rock Hill. And at that time, I reminded people that it takes a big man, a big leader, a big person to do big things. And here again, we're today celebrating big things, an opportunity for our government to help those that need help during this pandemic. Our opportunity to have real leadership show its face yet again here in the state of South Carolina. So with that, I'll introduce our fearless leader and the guy who's driven us through this without a manual, but with great grace and humility, Governor Henry McMaster. Hey!
We try to get Senator Fanning to restrain his enthusiasm, but it never works. Well, Mayor Geddes, thank you very much, and pleasure to be in this beautiful city again. And I got to remind you, Winthrop College was where my mama, her two sisters, and their mother, my grandmother, all graduated. She first in 1909. Wow. So there you go. And some of these buildings were here then, and they even look better now than they did then. I remember when Rock Hill went through the phase when everyone was moving to the suburbs, and so we had a mall here for several years. And but this is we've broken through. We got the sunshine coming in, and for those of you who don't get around the state of the country quite as much as you'd like to, you won't find a prettier place than Rock Hill, South Carolina. And I need to say that these, when in the being governor and some as lieutenant governor, when I got to meet business leaders from around the world were looking for places to invest hundreds of millions and billions of dollars, I've asked them, those that come here, I said, why did you pick South Carolina? And they always speak of the beauty of the mountains and the oceans and the cities and the farmlands. We got a lot of farmlands and the forests, but they always say it's because of the people, the people, the people. They say the people of South Carolina are different and spectacular. And one thing we want to do is be sure that we're able to all work in our careers and to do what we like to do, to have the kind of jobs and futures and careers we want all the children to have. And what we do today in keeping the businesses going, keeping education going, will pay dividends as we go forward. That's why it's so important that during this virus, South Carolina never shut down as others did, relying on leadership and guidance from a whole lot of people, including experts. We slowed down, but we didn't shut down. We are open for business, and that's one reason that a lot of companies, besides the fact that because of our great people, our great research universities, our great technical college system, and the great environment that we offer, they want to be here. So it's our job to keep these businesses growing. You can't have education unless you have businesses, where people pay taxes to support education. You have to have it all together at the same time. So what we're doing today is to be sure that our businesses, particularly the small businesses, can still thrive and prosper. And when the virus came, as you recall, in the federal legislation, $1.9 billion came to South Carolina. Well, during that time, we had unemployment insurance. Our state unemployment coffers had just over $1 billion in there. And we have spent out of our state coffers just under $1 billion. So what the legislators did, some of whom are here now, did was something very wise that they did not do in other states. In order to keep those taxes from going up for unemployment insurance, taxes on all the businesses across the board, they decided first to put $500 million of that 1.9 into that unemployment trust fund, and just recently 420 more billion. So that's $920 million out of 1.9 to go in so the businesses won't have to raise taxes. Because when they raise taxes, that affects the bottom line. It crimps businesses. They lose employees. People lose jobs. And what happens? Everything goes down the drain, including education. We got to educate these young people in South Carolina because they're great young people, and we want them to grow up and be strong. So this is a great program. I commend the Accelerate SC, which was the group we put together to develop a plan for for dealing with the pandemic and also coming out of it. And part of their recommendation was to do what we're doing right now, and that is to create the Minority and Small Business Grants Program. And here to describe that next will be Marcia Adams, Department of Administration. Marcia.
Thank you, Governor, and it is truly a great pleasure to be here today to introduce two grant programs passed by the legislature and signed into law by the Governor just a few weeks ago, and that is the Minority and Small Business Relief Grant Program and the Nonprofit Grant Relief Program. And both of these programs are designed to award grants to businesses and nonprofits to reimburse them for providing services and expenditures they've incurred due to COVID-19 for the period March 1st, 2020 through December 1st, 2020. There are two different programs, as I mentioned before, and I just want to take just a short time to talk to you about each one. First, for the Minority and Small Business Relief Grant Program. Who qualifies for this program? Businesses that have been in operation from September 13th to the present, that was 6 months prior to the Governor's first emergency order, have 25 or fewer employees, are physically located in South Carolina, and show some type of registration, whether that be with the Secretary of State, a business license, a certificate of existence. We're going to work with them on what can be accepted for that. Now, how is the amount of grant funding determined for these small business grant programs? Businesses that apply can show a reduction in gross revenue from the period March 1st, December 2020 as compared for that same period in 2019, and or present other qualifying expenditures such as staffing costs, operational costs, facility costs, PPE costs, incurred as a result of COVID-19. The legislation provided a total amount of funding for this program at $40 million, and the grant awards will be in a range from $2,500 to $25,000. How will we evaluate those applications? They will be evaluated by a panel consisting of representatives from the Commission for Minority Affairs, the Department of Commerce, and the Department of Revenue. And the legislation allows the panel to give priority to minority businesses, to applicants that did not receive other COVID-19 assistance such as the Paycheck Protection Program, businesses with 15 or fewer employees, and businesses that demonstrate the greatest financial need. For the nonprofit program, it's structured similarly. Who qualifies for that program in a nonprofit? They have been in operation from September 13th. They are a 501c3 and located physically in South Carolina. Again, the grants are determined by using the same calculation for revenue loss and expenditures. The legislature has set the total amount for this program at $25 million, and the grants for this program range from $2,500 to $50,000. How will the applications be evaluated? Again, there is a panel of state agencies. This is a panel of 9 state agencies, and they are allowed to give priority to applicants with expenditures related to food assistance, rent or mortgage assistance, utilities assistance, mental health counseling, health care services, criminal domestic violence and children's advocacy services, arts and cultural items and activities. Now, for both of these programs, what do you need to know? When is the deadline to apply? It's quickly approaching, November 1st. The application window opened today, so applicants can now go online, both nonprofits and businesses, and apply. Notifications of grant awards will be sent at the beginning of December, and grant payments should be made by December 15th. Now, if I'm a business or a nonprofit, this is a quick deadline. There's a lot of things to consider, and I need help. And we understand that, and the Department of Administration has tried to provide a network of assistance. First, you can contact the South Carolina CARES Call Center at 803-670-5170 or at South Carolina CARES at admin.sc.gov. We also have recorded webinars for the application process on accelerate.sc.gov, And finally, realizing that you need hands-on assistance. We have a strong network of partners, some of them represented here today. For businesses, we have Michelle Abraham, who is the State Director for the Small Business Development Center, Stephen Gilchrist, Director of the South Carolina African American Chamber of Commerce, and some of their associated organizations have agreed to provide assistance. And for the nonprofits, we have Together SC, who, along with their partners, will provide technical assistance and on-the-ground, hands-on help if you need it. And with that, it is my pleasure today to introduce just one of those partners who is here and in this community ready to assist businesses, and that is Dawn Johnson. She is the chair of the Rock Hill Economic Development Corporation. And Dawn, thank you.
Good afternoon, and I'd like to thank the governor for this opportunity to make sure that businesses continue to thrive and survive. I serve on the Rock Hill Economic Development Council, which I've been a part of for 10 years and served on just about every committee on that council. So I've seen a lot in terms of business development and the needs that they have. So we came together very quickly. David Warner with the Technology Incubator. We have an entrepreneurship committee as well as VMS. And we also have an organization called the Black Economic Leadership League that was born out of some challenges in terms of getting information about resources out to the communities and some of the areas where it's tougher to receive information and understand it and digest it and apply quickly. So we've rallied the troop at Bell. You'll see many of the board members here, committee members, and what we are prepared to do is we will look over all the information and see if we can make it digestible. We have formed partnerships. Montreal Belton, a local attorney here, will shut down his office on Thursday of this week, and we will help coordinate taking people in to give them hands-on assistance with completing the application. In addition, Melvin Poole, who's with Accounting and Tax Services here, will join in these efforts. And we're actually soliciting assistance from anyone who has these skill sets that would like to assist in helping. We'll start out on Thursday, and if the need goes beyond that day, we'll see about additional days to continue to help. We realize this 2 weeks is a very short turnaround, and with the PPP loans, we saw the experiences there where people just need hands-on assistance. So that's what we're prepared to do. One of our board members who handles our grants, Serena Williams, is going to look over the tutorials and see if there's anything that she can do to help make it digestible for those participants. If you need assistance, you can reach out to www.bellofrockhill.org, and there you may subscribe and receive information, as well as you can send an email to info@bellofrockhill.org, and there you can send us an email to let us know if you need assistance or if you want to help. So we are here standing ready and prepared to help distribute this information, and the mayor has given me instructions to make sure that all this money gets used and that it does not go back to the federal government. So we stand prepared to make sure that that happens. So please reach out to us, and we're going to make sure that we do everything that we can so that our small businesses survive. Thank you. And we will have, following me, Ms. Michelle Abraham. She's the Director of Small Business Development Center, who will also be a partner in the resource. Thank you.
Good afternoon. It's just a pleasure to be here. Governor and members of the legislature, really appreciate your leadership in making this program happen for our state. I am the state director for the South Carolina Small Business Development Centers. We're part of a national organization whose mission is to basically help small businesses succeed. We provide no-fee consulting, training, and access to other resources. We're very pleased to be a part of this program. We've helped thousands of people in South Carolina to understand and apply and get funds through the PPP and the Economic Injury Disaster Loan under COVID. And we've committed to be here throughout the state to help for this program as well. We have 20 centers and about 60 people around the state who are all small business owners themselves, have gone through specialized trainings and are poised to help. We can be reached most easily through our website, which is www.bellofrockhill.org. SC for South Carolina, sbdc.com. And when you go onto the website, there's a little blue box at the top that says sign up here to request counseling. Click on that, answer a few questions, and someone will get back to you within 24 hours. We will help anyone who needs the help. We've got the experience to do it, and I want you to know that there is an entire community of organizations. You've already heard from some of us today, but other partners out there like SCORE, Women's Business Centers, the African American Chamber, many people who are here to also help, and so we look forward to being able to help everybody get that money spent. And so with that, it's my pleasure to be able to introduce Ms. Diane Mcrae. She is the owner of a daycare here in Rock Hill by the name of Classy Kids, so please help me to welcome her.
Good afternoon. I am Beverly Diane Hart McCrae. I use Beverly as my God-given name more for professional reasons, but friends call me Diane. So I feel that I might be among friends, so please feel free to call me Diane. My story is the story of the average black business owner. And before I talk a little bit about my personal experience, I want to thank the governor. I am so elated to be in your presence as well as in the presence of all these fine South Carolinians. I'm assuming everybody here is a South Carolinian. And of course, Rock Hillians. I am a Rock Hillian myself, very proud of this town. I have seen it grown from the time that I was a little girl and walked up and down these streets and saw these stores as different stores. So I've seen it from the beginning to the middle. May not get to see the end, but at least I've seen a lot of progress. Today, I want to talk just a little bit about the importance of supporting our small businesses, particularly our black businesses. It's much needed. When I first started 2001 with my first daycare center, I funded it with my personal money. I did not work in child care. I had a sister that did, and she always wanted to have her own business, and I wanted a business, but I didn't want to deal with little children. I love little children. You know, to go in and get my little hug and kiss at the daycare is just, it makes my day. But I always dealt with older children. I am an educator, first and foremost. Amen. And I do believe that education, contrary to what lots of people think, education doesn't start when your child starts in the first grade. Some people may dismiss the importance of a child care program, but I say it's important. It's the very beginning of your child's education. We as black people that own black businesses, we participate in our community. When I hire, and right now I only have 4 people hired now, and you know, any day that could be 3, 2, 0, and everybody goes home. We've tried very hard. I've tried very hard not to have that to happen. So I do what I've been doing all along. I go in my pockets and make things happen. Because I have a responsibility, those parents that I have, those children that I've had, those parents that are dependent on me. Sometimes, due to COVID, we may have had 4 kids, 6 kids. Our staff packed up, they left. Maybe one person stayed because that's all that was needed, the one person. We started closing on Fridays. We started closing early through the week. And every day was a guess. It was a guess whether we were going to operate as a business and be able to keep those children for those parents. The 2 or 3 parents out there that were working depended on us. And I couldn't let them down. I have this feel for those parents that are struggling, hardworking people trying to work. They're not responsible for COVID. It has affected them tremendously. And I feel that everybody should gather together, unite, and help each other. And that's my way of helping. Giving back to my community, giving back to my state, helping my fellow man. The COVID experience, I liken it to the domino effect. Because if you don't have parents working, they can't afford child care. If they're sick with COVID, they can't come. If their children have come in contact with COVID, they can't come to your childhood center. And even with the voucher program, the state voucher program, they go by your attendance. Your attendance helps to determine that small amount of money that supplements what those parents will pay out of their pockets. But guess what? If they don't have the money, I don't send them home. I've never written a letter to say, you haven't paid in 3 months, 2 weeks, so your child has to stay home. Our thought is, let's go see what we can work out. So I go in my pockets again, because those 4 people that are working for me right now, not the 6, not the 8, not the others that I don't have, they are depending on me. Those children that are in that child care center right now, they are depending on me. So if I don't have enough for food, I have to figure it out. But those kids are going to get their food. If I need more resources, then I figure it out. They're going to get some resources. They may not be what I want, but they're going to get something. They are not going to be lacking at all. I'm looking around because I'm supposed to get the finger as to when I'm supposed to stop talking. I keep telling everybody I'm not a speaker. I'm a talker. Now, I can talk all day to you, but I'm not a speaker, and I'll deal with Montreal Belton after this, because on yesterday when he talked to me, and I'm just digressing just a little bit. Yesterday he said, you can say 2 words, can you? I said, oh yeah, I can handle that. I walk up today, he says, you're the star of the show, and I'm saying, oh. I'm not mentally prepared. I just came, I had my little notepad and my pen. I came to get information, excited about getting perhaps a grant, excited about what I can possibly do, because I have ideas. I have things that I would like to see happen with the children in this community. We can't progress. We can't I'd like to have computers other than maybe my laptop or something there for the kids that come in, the after school program, even the kids that are 4-year-old, the 4-year-olds and 3-year-old kids, they know more about it than I do. So I'd like to be able to offer different things for those kids, but I'm limited because of funds. And I just feel like it's a disservice to our children, and our children represent our future. They're the future. Hopefully most will stay around South Carolina and see that it's a very viable community. It's a great place to be, and they will continue to hope it to be an even greater place. But Black, and I'm not just speaking for child care programs, I'm speaking for Black small business, period. A little help will go a long ways, because we are providing a service to the Rock Hill community, to the state of South Carolina, and to the United States of America. Thank you so much. I'd like to take this time to introduce, I'm assuming it's Mrs. Deborah Heinz, who's the Executive Director of the Arts Council of York County. So please welcome her. Thank you.
Good afternoon, friends, and thank you, Governor McMaster, and all the local legislators and visitors that joined us today for being in Rock Hill to tell us about the available relief funds. I and many others are eager to complete the application and receive those funds to help keep the arts alive in our community. So I'm speaking for several local arts organizations today. The cultural community has been especially hard hit. The Arts Council alone has lost over $225,000 in event revenue, the annual gala, Blues and Jazz Festival, and Underexposed Film Festival, in facility rental, in rescinded grant allocations, and annual membership. The Rock Hill Community Theater has already lost $51,600. The Rock Hill Symphony Orchestra has lost $65,000. The ballet has lost $75,000 to $80,000, not to mention the educational loss to the students. The City of Rock Hill, they present Food Truck Fridays and a concert series, Old Town Theater. They've lost over $300,000 in lost revenue. And that's not to mention the economic impact that more than 80,000 visitors would bring to our community. All in all, just the 4 or 5 that I've mentioned today is about $425,000. These cultural agencies don't just provide entertainment and add to our quality of life, but these 4 groups alone, 5 groups, also provide an economic impact of nearly $5 million for our community. So we look forward to the day when we can reopen to the public and bring our audiences back together to enjoy the arts. But in the meantime, we are grateful for these funds to help us weather this difficult time. I'm so sorry. And it is my pleasure to introduce Representative Gary Simmer.
I was saying it might be better if she didn't introduce me. But thank y'all for being here today. Governor, thank you for being in beautiful Rock Hill. You know, during times of politics, often we're divided. But I can tell you this, in South Carolina, we are united. We are united in recognizing the need for small business. The backbone, as you've heard, is small business in this country, but really it's the seasonings on society, that woving of fabric that makes South Carolina so great and small business so great. Diane, and I can call you Diane because we're friends, she said it best. She said it best. We need to be looking out for each other. And we find ourselves on Main Street here today to tell you that South Carolina, with our governor at the lead, is committed to make sure small business stays where they are and that people can continue to be hired, employed, and thrive in small business. With the help, those behind me, I saw Senator Clymer, Senator Fanning, Representative John King, Representative Ray Felder, Representative Randy Ligon. We're in South Carolina working on behalf of you, the citizens here, the small business owners, the employees, to make sure that we're doing it right, but we need your input. It's not just government helping people, it's us helping us to make sure that all is done in a right way. So while we have a small window, Ms. Adams, to make this happen, please apply for these benefits that have come through the CARES Act and through the careful consideration of the governor and his office, and make sure that we continue as we end in 2020, that we continue to thrive. Thank y'all for being here. Thank you for being a South Carolinian, and go Panthers.
Well, my wife Peggy has been bugging me about it. Didn't look like we would get to the beach this year, but I think I got my suntan standing right here. Just a reminder, what the legislature has done at the suggestion of Accelerate SC and a lot of thinking was to provide the $920 million to go back into that trust fund so the businesses, small and large, will not have to have their taxes raised to pay for that. And then for those who, for one reason or another, were not able to take advantage of the various programs, the federal programs that we had to receive grants and loans, this may be your last chance. This is $40 million for small and minority businesses as described, and 25 million for the nonprofit organizations. But you have to apply, and you have to do it online. And if you can't do it online, find somebody to help you. And if you can't find anybody to help you, pick up the phone and call one of these folks who's standing here today that you heard from. But don't let the deadline pass, because once the deadline's gone, it's gone. Right, Ms. When is the deadline? November 1st. That's it, at the stroke of midnight, November 1st? Midnight?
PM.
Say what?
The very last minute of November 1st, yes, 11:59
11:59 p.m., November 1st. Don't wake up the next morning and say, oops, what'd I do? Because this may be the last opportunity, but it's a great opportunity, and I want to thank the members of the General Assembly, those who are here today, and others for seeing the wisdom of doing this, because this is how we do, Diane. Amen. We get what we can out of money that comes from tax sources, and then we do the rest ourselves, neighbor to neighbor, friend to friend. So thank you very much. Are there any questions for anyone here? Yes, sir. That would be you.
I have a question. I just want to make sure we're clear for the thousands of people who are going to read this and see this. The Minority and Small Business Relief Grant Program it's not exclusive to minority-owned businesses.
Correct.
Small businesses, right?
It must be a small business. Come forward.
Yes, sir.
I want to make sure that people understand that anyone can apply if they within the criteria of employees.
Yes, sir. That has really been in operation since the 13th of September 2019. 25 or fewer employees and physically located in the state of South Carolina. If you're one of those businesses, it's open to apply.
It,
We've heard from some businesses that have opened up just this year who maybe have only been open a few months before COVID hit. Why was it the restriction put in place to have them have been open since September?
why was it? What put in place?
So we've heard from some small businesses who've opened up this year who are also facing troubling times, but they're being excluded from the small business loans. Do you know what the parameters?
Well, yeah, because the earlier loan it had hundreds of millions of dollars, and it was for any small business that was described as under 500 employees or fewer. But a lot of people didn't apply. They weren't excluded; they just didn't apply. So now this is another chance with some more money to apply. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am. Also, that date is in the legislation that they must have been in operation 6 months prior to the governor's executive order in March.
Does that answer your question?
Kind of, yes.
Come on back, Marcia.
Sorry, no, I don't want to keep dragging out. I'm just curious, what was the reasoning behind making it kind of a longer period of time, like the window?
I can't answer that. Just that's what the legislation had in it.
Just curious, as I know we've talked to some small businesses who opened up this year who are hoping to kind of also be included, who are also struggling. So I didn't know if
Well, you have. I presume you must draw the line somewhere. So 6 months before we started putting restrictions on was determined to be the appropriate one with guidance from a lot of organizations. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so why are you giving this announcement here specifically at Rock Hill, and what will that do for the Center of the Arts and other Rock Hill schools?
Well, I hope they'll apply. And we're here because, number one, we wanted to come see the mayor. We always enjoy that. Number two, because this is a beautiful South Carolina city. And number three, we want to get the word out because we know there were people for other grants and loans that somehow did not get the message, did not hear about it in time. So we want to be sure we go and having another one of these in another part of the state. We want to be sure everybody knows to apply. Okay. Any more questions? Yes, sir.
Governor, should South Carolina expect any additional restrictions to be lifted anytime soon?
No, we're going to lift the few that we have remaining. We hope to lift those soon. But we, as I mentioned earlier, we used a different approach from most states. We did not go into the essential and non-essential. We looked at those with the advice from a lot of people, as to what were the types of businesses, activities, congregations that would be most likely to spread the virus. And those are the ones, it was a short list. Those are the ones that we closed or restricted. We tried to do it from as small a time as possible. And right now, and for some time now, everything is open in South Carolina. We do have a few restrictions left. But the business of South Carolina is business. And we know about the virus now. We think we know how it spread. We know how dangerous it is. We know how to combat it. Our hospitals have capacity. We've had a good plan. It's worked well. But South Carolina's business is business, and we want to be open all the time for people for their businesses to thrive. Most of our businesses are small businesses. That's why we're here today. But as businesses thrive, so do families, so do people, and that's why we're here. Any more questions? Yes, sir.
With that said, do you have any additional information on a possible vaccine here in the state?
No, sir. Other than what's been in the news, there are several that are in process. The development of those vaccines has really been a record in the short amount of time, and to get FDA approval and all that. But we have a plan for distributing the vaccine or vaccines when they are available. We're not sure, don't know when that's going to be, but I know it's going to be quite an undertaking. We already have a plan. It's already been submitted to the government to do that. One interesting thing, we don't know which vaccine will be first, second, or third, or when. But there's one of them that has to be stored at 10 degrees below zero. So there are logistic questions involved in getting that out. But I assure you, we got the National Guard, Department of Administration, DHEC, Emergency Management Division, everybody in between is working on it to see that we will be in the forefront of doing very well, as has been recognized by the CDC. Dr. Robert Redfield just last week said South Carolina's response, our targeted response, has been excellent and is a model for other states. So we're proud of the way things have worked so far. We got great people, but we got to stick together because it's not over. And I'll say this, cold weather's coming. A lot of the European countries is getting cold and the virus is going back up. So we're going to have to make some understandings on what to do about congregating inside without fresh air when that cold weather gets here. That's the next thing we'll need to figure out. Yes, sir.
And one final question. South Carolina was recently ranked first in nursing home deaths according to the AARP. Is there anything being discussed on how to fix that number?
I'm not familiar with that statistic. I do know that one is too many. But we lifted all restrictions on nursing homes weeks ago, over a month ago. The nursing homes are, I have asked DHEC to seek from everyone. We have 193 nursing homes and about 500 assisted care places, living places. And they have been, largely they have been closed to people coming in. Well, we lifted all those restrictions some weeks, I think over a month, maybe a month and a half, or longer than that ago. But still, the CDC says if you have a certain percentage level of infection in your county, then a nursing home should not open. And if you have an infection inside the nursing home, then it ought to close down for 2 weeks or something like that. We have, I think so far, we have about over half of our nursing homes, 194, are open to visitation of some kind. You can go on the Accelerate SC website or go on the DHEC website and find out which ones they are. But we are urging them to open as quickly as possible because we know of the ramifications of people being closed up and not being able to be visited by their loved ones. Are there any more questions? We've exhausted them, Mayor. You have anything else you want to say?
So thank you all for coming out. Thank you.
Thank you.